In Brussels, there is an obsession of people owning an individual house, which is something like this over here, a row house. Whenever you're talking about living in an apartment that is part of big housing block, everyone is getting a little bit grumpy and not happy, just like this urbanist over here, grumpy urbanist. Well, in this show, let's see how it is possible to offer an alternative to housing. In this episode, we'll be stripping the architecture of this nice urban development. Our major purpose is to reveal and promote the qualities of pro-social housing complexes. This development is found in Brussels, and we will leave a link from the exact address in the bio. The designers of this complex are the architects BOB 361 architects, and this concept is also known as social residential neighborhoods. The development is consisted out of 35 social housing units and 24 middle-income units, all passive housing. Urbanistically speaking, we love how these projects achieves densification by letting an open space to dominate the development. The spatial organization is mostly generated by simple addition of two buildings. One creates slight enclosure of the urban block, and the second one is making subtle opening towards the streets, which makes balance between coziness and dynamics. The development has three entrances, which makes it accessible and porous. The first entrance is located right here, and let's check it out. So for example, as you can see from here, what you can see is that usually the building fronts of the street fronts in Brussels are like this, and you walk all the time next to the building front. But here, all of a sudden, we have this kind of opening, a tunnel. This passage, it invites you to go a little bit inside to explore, and what is very interesting...
Wait, where's the gate, man?
Yes, exactly. This is the most expected element. There is no gate. In other words, in Brussels, whenever they design this kind of inner court building housing development, first thing what they do is they design the gate. Here it is open, and obviously the grumpy urbanists still are looking for the gate. Why?
I want my gate, man. I want to feel secure. Oh, that doesn't work like this.
Well, for talking about safety, we don't have to always be leaning on gates. For example, if we smartly design our livable spaces, we can make spaces even more safe than putting gates. For example, over here, this is a hallway that takes you to an upper housing unit. This staircase over here, it's not that see-through, so you cannot see what is inside, but people can see you from inside towards outside. In other words, offering certain kind of social control.
Man, in this tunnel, there is no single light. Can you imagine?
Yes, that's of course. I mean, first of all, we have to be thinking about what is sustainable and that we shouldn't be spending electricity on every single shit. And that's why this tunnel is maybe low, but then the opening of the courtyard is quite big, which is nicely enlightened. By the way, because our grumpy urbanist was asking about where is the gate, we can see traces of tactical movable barriers over here, which means that yes, they're not completely blocking off the accessible space, but they're giving you, the residents are giving you some kind of a knowledge that this place still belongs a little bit more to the residents, and you have to be respectful. Grumpy urbanist, what you're doing?
Sorry, you're not welcome.
Put back the gate.
You're not welcome
Put back the
anymore.
gate. At the same time, what is very acknowledgeable here, we have benches. Benches, people can here chill out and still...
Man, they are outdoor benches. Why did you put them inside?
That's actually a very good point. They could have also maybe installed these benches over here, and these kind of covered outdoor spots are very rare in Brussels, and in Brussels it rains a lot, as right now you can see it's very cloudy weather, so it's always nice that you have a place where you can, if it rains or it's a shitty weather, you can come and find a shelter. At the same time, offering benches outside, it's nice where kids or other people can just sit around, smoke cigarette, eat sunflower seeds and enjoy the public space. Bonjour, bonjour. So therefore, please, more benches and outdoor covered spaces.
What are you talking about? More benches? So I can't sleep in my room. People will be sitting and chit-chatting and smoking and hanging around.
Okay, never mind. That's how far we go if you have a grumpy urbanist on the other hand. I mean, by the way, that's the thing. You have to be respectful when you come inside these places. Yes, they're public and accessible, but you have to be respectful so you cannot harm these kind of grumpy people. Yes, so what we can often see here, that the grass over here, it's letting to be overgrown, because that's how you offer better diversity for the insects and other bees. And I can see that the grumpy urbanist is not...
mowing machine. I want this proper, clean, no grass, man.
Of course.
Fuck biodiversity.
We were just talking about sustainability and they're asking for the loaning. Okay, never mind. But you have to be careful for the insects and the snails and the bees.
What is this like cagey architecture, man? It's a cage.
So absolutely.
Chickens or what? Like turkeys?
Aha, so here we come to this point. If you want to make a city that's less dependent on cars, we have to provide nice sheltered storage spaces for parking bicycles. Here we can see this big spot right next to the public space. And I think that the grumpy urbanists cannot contradict to this.
I don't like it. I want my parking for car, man.
Well, there is a car parking spot, but we'll continue. So now what is also, when you come over here, when you enter into this kind of inner court, you can see that over there we can still walk, but the fact that that building is a little bit inclining towards on the side, you can see that it's not a dead end and you're free to pass through. At the same time, over here we have this building block, and then we have the storage for the bicycle, which are framing a space for communal gardens where people can come and have quality time together while being productive.
Some hippie plants, tomato and salad, that's what we want in our cities, man.
There we go. There we go with our grumpy urbanist. You can never beat him, but never mind. Now what is also very interesting is that right here you have big terraces. We claim that every social housing block, every apartment should have big terraces to offer more quality to the residents. Down there you can see greenery, which the idea is to offer a little bit of a buffer zone so you don't make too much noise to the people who are living below, and at the same time erase the ground level, which also can distract you and give more privacy to the people who are living on the ground level. What do you think about this? I think you will find this apartment very well.
This, to be honest, I can't say anything against terraces. Even though they are a bit like intrusive and heavy steel structure, but that was, yeah, I don't know. We don't want to criticize.
Okay, by the way, for the grumpy architect, urbanist, we have an open gate there. Oh my god. Oh my god. But you have a lot of friends who are working in the steel industry producing gates. There we go. There we go. This is what we
need more. Gate. That's what we miss there, man. That's what we are talking about. Not these random barriers like throwing around here and there.
So as we are walking in the lateral side corridor of this development, on this side we can see this communal little farm, you know. It reminds a little bit of a suburb, village, or maybe a rural environment, but we are right now in a dense urban environment of Brussels. And on the other side we can see ground levels which are stuffed and filled in with spaces for communal and collective gatherings, which is quite great. These people who are living in those little individual units don't have opportunity to use these kind of spaces, even though I'm pretty sure they're inviting everyone to be part of this great urban development, and I can sense that the grumpy urbanist has something to add on this. Yes?
Yeah, and this like loads of greenery requires a lot of maintenance and work. People are busy with work. They don't have time for nature. What are you talking about?
Very good point. To be honest, this is what we have to be showing and using these spaces for education of the children. We have to be, the grown-ups, to be the role model of the children of tomorrow. If you just want to be driving in your car and smoking cigarettes, fine, but if you want to have a better future, we have to spend a bit more time. But we agree, the general societies have to offer a bit more free time so we can get adjusted to this kind of activity, passive interactive spaces such as urban farming and yeah, whatever. So right now we're standing in the center of this urban development, and the first impression what we can see is that it's quite, the feeling it's open but still kind of framing you to give you a cozy feeling. And what is the most important, right over there we can see traces from the existing urban fabric. The new development is actually focusing on the outskirts of this open space and letting the backyards of the existing buildings to breathe. So you can see they're not blocking there, and they offered more greenery and better and appeal visual impact to everyone in this urban block, not just to the residents of these housing blocks.
Well,
Quite great.
yes, but at the same time they lost the opportunity to add an extra housing blocks there with a couple of apartments.
No, but that's not the point, man.
I don't get it.
We just said that they offered light, sunlight and air to those people. Why to build more?
Yeah, but this is like how capitalism thinks, man. Every square meters counts here.
And before continuing with the video, just a slight correction of ours. After filming the video, we have found out actually that the term that we want to use is actually grumpy and not grampy, but nevertheless you get the point. Anyways, this development has actually inspired us to sketch this little illustration over here, which you can see it on the screen right now. The purpose of this sketch, we will explain it later, but right now we just wanted to let you know that this sketch is just a part of our large collection of sketches that are reflecting the architecture and the urban design of our cities. Soon we are planning on publishing these sketches in certain kind of little book, and we would like to invite you to visit our Instagram profile Stripping Architecture to have a look at the illustrations and help us caption them in the most appropriate manner. Your advice will be super appreciated because it will guide us to create accessible architectural and urban design language that will be understandable for everyone, not only for professionals. That's our major goal with these illustrations. And now let's go back on site. So now we're walking towards the second entrance of this urban development, and the first thing that's impactful over here that we can spot it is that unlike the first entrance, where it's like deep and narrow and covered with a tunnel, here we have this wide angle opening which offers you a broad perspective for entering inside these blocks. This is good from multiple perspectives because sometimes when you have the downside of inner blocks, that when you see them from the outside, they look a little bit introvert and timid and a little bit not inviting, maybe also scary. On this kind of shallow approach towards the urban block, you're having more sensitive, more tangible approach to the inner block and being invited to use it as a transitional zone. At the same time, this is the spot where the car access is as well.
Wait, this is the garage.
Yes.
I can't fit my 4x4 car. Are you crazy?
Ah, there we go. There we go. So if you ask the Grand Urbanist, probably this should be, half building should be garage gate. But however, I mean, we have to live with it. So additionally, as we slowly approach and walk inside this urban block over here, we can see that the edges of the building, right over here, there is a little bit, it's a hole, it's excavated ground with grass. And first thing, that's good for slowing down the water and water accumulation from the rain and the underground infiltration of the water. And the second is also making a buffer zone from the walking area of the building blocks.
But wait, I don't get it. It's like a cliff here and they did not install a handrail or balustrade for kids not to fall. What's wrong?
Very good point. Very good point. Actually, sometimes it's really interesting to think about it, how we decide when are we gonna place or not place a railing for safety, which we can see now children are playing, but probably my opinion is that maybe the grass over there is quite a little bit higher and taller and frames the walking path, but it can be something dangerous. Grand Urbanist got some.
Once and then you might learn. I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Man, I don't get it. Also, even the main like axis where people can walk and cycle, it should be all asphalt. But what is this greenery half here, there? It doesn't make any sense. It's not practical. I don't get it.
Well, why it's not practical? To be honest, this kind of soft ground that you see over here doesn't make much mud, or and still lets the water flow. However, this concrete paving over here, it's good from maintenance point of view, where still maybe the basis has to stay. They could have done something else, but also not to forget, this kind of social housing developments are usually done with a minimal budget. So that's something to pay attention to. Mr. Grumpy Architect, it's not like in the 60s building these 100 stories towers. Yeah.
We have.
It's way much more profitable and easier and effective if you put all the communication services, corridors and hallways inside the building envelope. But here what we can see is we have the access, it's outside from the building. Actually you can see the corridors where you, from that little passage, you go passerelle, you go straight into the apartment. In that way, again, enhancing the social control, at the same time giving more sense that you are belonging to a community, that you hear voices, that there are people living here, that it's not some abandoned space like from some liminal movies.
And anyone passes through these passages and terraces will look inside my apartment. Where is my privacy, man? I love this. Where is my individual?
Wait. You see that over there? That's called curtain. Yeah.
Wait, I have something for you. Do you remember our difference, the electrical boxes? This like you never missed it. It's a very eco-friendly, shitty development. It's there. It's the baby of the. Yeah.
Okay, again a good point of the grumpy urbanist, which is true. Yeah. So the garage is hidden. The trash cans are strategically located. The water accumulation system is really nicely camouflaged, and then you have It's majesty. No, this is actually the monument.
The bus.
This is the monument of
Leopold
II. Okay, why we went again in that direction, I don't know.
Yeah.
So you see, tell me another place in Brussels where we have children playing outside without surveillance of the parents. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
That's, I would say, one of the few disadvantages here. You don't have cars, right, rolling inside. So
Wait, but you as a grumpy urbanist, you think that children should play?
I think you should buy them little cars so they can ride here to give the inspiration, to keep up the energy of cars, like even inside.
A little bit smoke, a little bit of.
Like they are.
Okay. That's true. Like maybe there should be cars for children. Again, as we were talking about the water infiltration, this is swampy. It is a little bit like dirty water, and probably the grumpy architect wants to be
I think so.
pure
in summer
lake.
and spring, people will kind of good luck with mosquitoes.
Yes. Yes. By the way, probably with the mosquitoes, you have to be careful that you use this kind of vegetation that invites also the birds to eat the mosquitoes. So that's also part of the balance.
Okay, let's get the third entrance.
And from here, actually, we come to the third entrance of this urban development. As we can see, there is a ramp, so that's a very good thing. There are stairs, and from there it brings you right on the other side of the boring street level of Brussels, as you can see. Qu'est-ce que vous voulez dire? Vous voulez dire quelque chose?
Non.
No?
Elle s'appelle comment la chaîne?
The Shen, stripping architecture.
C'est pas...
So what we said, like you can find here a ramp that you can use it for people who are using strollers or wheels to go up to the street level.
What about cyclists or cars maybe?
Can you just for one moment forget about the car?
Fuck cyclists.
Okay, for the cyclists, true, it's not the most easy ramp to be conquered. By the way, I find it a bit strange because there is quite a big of a distance over here that could have provided a long ramp entrance. and maybe they up here, but you cannot be perfect. But anyhow, yeah, it's still quite thoughtful. So it's very important that again, when you come from this third spot, when you enter, so let's go on the street level, for example. Now there is the street level is over here on the other side. So very typical Brussels kind of landscape, streetscape. As you can see, a lot of gray and bricks and very boring, monotone, not inviting you to walk. Yes, nicely paved sidewalk. I mean, this is what we care, nicely paved sidewalk. Then look at this, out of nowhere, to have these stones over here, which are usually dug out after during the excavation or whatever, giving you some attention, signalization that there is something else happening over there. And then you read this language of architecture, yeah, maybe, which is a bit different and outstanding compared to the rest of the environment. And you know that there is something else happening over here. And from here you see a little green heaven. Well, finally children can play, and these guys, grumpy urbanists, less can use their...
But I think this is one the decent entrance, even though it's...
Yeah, no, it's good. And as we promised, let's wrap up this video with one of our illustrations. As you can see on this illustration, we have imagined a city where the major focus is given to the space of the inner courts of the urban blocks, and the streets are created as gardens. Probably this is not that easy possible, but our major idea is to show some city where the urban blocks are introverted. In other words, spaces that are feeling more collective, such as the inner courts, to be given as a major transitional spaces, while the spaces that are smaller and that are less accessible, such as the streets, where it's shaded and dark, to be used as some kind of gardens. So the idea here is very simple. The inner courts of the urban blocks usually give you some kind of community feeling, sense of belonging, and when you see them you feel like you're gathering with the people around something, some space that is important for everyone. So we were thinking, what if the public space that is mostly used for the major mobility, for transitioning, for socio-economic dynamics and so on, are not the streets and their morphology of longitudinal spaces and zones? What if we create the public space as chain of inner courts, where the whole urban morphology will be stimulating people to come together and not to stay in their little private zones, which honestly are encouraged by current traditional street fronts of row houses. There you go, that was all for today. Hopefully you found something interesting in this session of Stripping the Architecture. And yeah, please follow our sketches, follow our work, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye!